Here we are.
Here we are. Good evening. It is January 19th, 2023, and we are here to talk to you. Apologies for being late. It's Noah's fault.
Oh.
Not really. It's my fault. Um, so, how you doing?
Good. Ready to get rolling. Ready to talk some sports.
Ready to talk some sports?
Yeah.
Okay.
How are you
How's
doing?
your week been?
You good? How was yours?
Tiring.
Yeah, same.
You know, my dad, your grandfather, passed away on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Not passed away. It was the 3-year anniversary of him passing away. He was a great person, taught us both to love sports, how to be good athletes, good people,
Yeah.
good sportsmanship.
Sure. Yeah. You just go with good people.
He taught us a lot. I miss him a lot. Think about him all the time. Was talking with my mom last night. She misses him too. We send our love out to you, Mom. And Grandma. Otherwise, I guess we're gonna move on. So the sports world moves along. So short little spurts here. Mike Bray, Notre Dame basketball head coach. He's retiring at the end of the season after his 23rd season, I believe it is.
Yeah.
In an interview this week, Rob Gronkowski said he almost came to Buffalo, but he could not get the deal worked out.
He just wasn't there mentally, he said.
He wasn't there mentally, and they didn't work out a deal. So, I've heard him recently say that he regrets that decision, and he wished he would have come. Would have changed the dynamics of this offense a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been nice, but
yeah,
hey, they seem to be okay.
Two tight end sets would have been a little different
would have been a little bit
Sweeney.
easier. Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna do a sticker sale next week. For those who know what a sticker sale is, we're gonna sell stickers for around $50, and you'll get some things back that you're expecting. For those who don't know what it is, you can DM us, slide into our DMs, and
yeah, all right.
Game Day 716.
Yeah.
So the portal window closed in college today. So we won't be hearing about all these players moving from school to school to school to school and not determining where they go.
Yeah.
Over 1,500 players across every sport have entered the portal and are determining where their next school is, because this is about education and
yeah.
Totally. Not their sporting future.
Not their relationships and deals that they can get.
No, right.
Not at all.
So, did you hear about the kid from Florida who pulled out?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I won't make the joke. He left Florida high and dry yesterday because they didn't get him a $13 million NIL deal that they promised him.
Well,
more than he would make on his rookie contract in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, hey, whatever. This is what the NIL is going to bring.
Yeah, they're going to have to get some hands around it. and some barriers and regulations around it pretty soon, or it's going to get out of control.
And
But
it already is. But
it already is.
hey, CJ.
You got it? Hey, CJ.
Hey guys.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good.
We were just talking about the portal window in college closing and how 1,500 athletes had entered the portal across all sports. Over 1,000 of them were in football, and we're both really happy for them being able to move on to their education and pursue their education in college. So
Because that's what this is all about.
because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, we're feeling really happy.
Students first, athletes second.
Athletes, money.
Yeah, that's how I was
Second.
at least raised, right? If your stuff ain't done, your schoolwork ain't done, you ain't playing.
You don't get your NIL deal money.
You don't
That's
get
right.
your NIL money. Yeah.
That's what my dad always said.
I was telling Noah about the kid who pulled out from Florida because he had a $13 million NIL deal in place, and Florida had to back out. They couldn't get him all 13.
Oh,
So he said, "I'm not going there." And the 13 million was like I said to Noah, the 13 million is more than he would have made in his rookie NFL contract. So if you think about it, he was a quarterback. He's a quarterback,
Wow.
5-star quarterback. So
wow.
we talked about Mike Bray retiring, about how Gronk almost came to Buffalo. So now we're going to move on to the Bills-Dolphins.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. There was a game last week on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Bills
CBS.
on CBS.
Tony
Jim
Romo called it.
Yeah,
It was
keep
pretty
going.
crispy.
I don't know.
It was
He
pretty
bothered
cold.
me most of the time. Oh, I
I
thought
don't
you
know.
meant
We
like
didn't
his
get- we didn't have to
officiating was
listen,
crispy.
so-
Okay.
We
I thought
didn't.
you meant
No
like-
one. I
No,
didn't have to
the
listen.
weather.
So
I got
The
it.
weather.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
Pretty crispy.
I don't know. Romo just kept making me feel like some type of way. Like he would just be like, if I can remember, let me think. He would just say something along the lines of like, "Oh, this isn't how the Bills season is gonna end," and then he'd be like, "Pause. Right? Like it's like
yeah,
they've
that's
been
what
through
Leslie was
so
saying. Like
much,
he was being
Yeah.
kind of like overly dramatic. And,
Yeah, like trying too hard, and I was like, he's like, "The Bills can't blow this," and he'd pause, right? And I was,
right.
stop, dude.
And Jim just is like doesn't say anything, goes
Yeah.
on to call the play.
Like, yes, Tony. All right, your enthusiasm's great, but let's tone down the
Rhetoric,
the drama.
Yeah, my buddy was saying the same thing that you were. I was getting texts from him complaining about Romo.
It was enough anxiety in the game to have the announcer
Yeah, there was
building that
Yeah, there was.
anxiety, right? So like, I don't need him building that anxiety more. Like I don't.
Be like, yes, Tony. I don't want
like
their season to end this way either. I
I
understand.
know we're 16
right?
point favorites. I know we're not up by 16 points right now. Like I get it.
Right.
I know what the spread was. I bet it. All right.
Right. I know it.
So, and that didn't work out. So, some
course they
highlights
win by
from
3.
the game were the Bills scoring 34 points. Dolphins scored 31 somehow.
The low lights of the game was the Dolphins scoring 31 points.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So the
Sure. I don't think they didn't shoot themselves in the foot. Yeah, it's not that close.
I mean, how many more times? Like, I guess, is it better that he's turning it over in the other red zone?
Yeah.
Like better than our red zone? I don't know.
Yeah, because the one time he did it turned into a touchdown.
So I guess we're better off with our red zone turnovers. I guess I don't know.
We have 2 red zone problems, right? We have the Josh Allen turnovers and then the red zone problem.
Right.
Where they have trouble scoring in the red zone. But
well, I thought they were one of the best. Maybe that was different.
Last year.
I thought they were pretty decent in the red zone. I was just thinking, like, when you said that, I go back to Minnesota and like how that was another issue. It really backed up in their, in their red zone. And and then it happened, that it was just that fumble was it was huge, like, for the momentum of the team. And right after halftime, it was like, we're up, we're good. I'm watching it. I'm happy, and then, okay, then they like score some points right before halftime. I'm like, okay, we're still good,
Right.
And then right after halftime, it was like, okay, now we're down by a touchdown. Like, how does this make
right.
sense, And
right, yeah, we were feeling it at the stadium too. There was some anxiety there going on.
No doubt.
I don't know. I think we both lost our voices yelling because how much the crowd affects whatever. We'll see. We'll see if the crowd affects Joe Burrow the same way it affected Skylar Thompson. And
probably won't in the same way, but I'm sure that it will. I mean, with the line that the Bengals have right now.
Yeah, well, the Bills line is better.
Yeah, and the only the argument against that their line is that they did it last year and made it to the Super Bowl with probably a worse line.
It was worse. Yeah, but they have two guys hurt. So
right.
I don't know where they were on the injury report today, but
last I seen they were week to week, and
that's right. And week like you had said, week to week generally means you're out this week.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, they're missing their left tackle and their right guard, I think.
And they're saying Trey Flowers is still sidelined, which would be
that'd be helpful too.
Yeah,
that would be helpful.
Yeah.
No real changes with Kappa and Williams, still sidelined, but they already know they're effectively out this week.
Okay. So yeah, so two linemen.
Yeah, Kappa.
But backup cornerback Trey Flowers, DNP, and they're thin at cornerback already.
Yeah.
Right. So what should the Bills do this week? Should
hope to God Eli Apple's wherever Eli Apple lines up, Diggs should just be there. Like, I don't care where he lines up, just be like, I'm gonna make you cover me.
So I want to talk about Diggs.
I don't think he can cover Davis either, though. Like, I'm fine.
I want to talk about Davis too, and Josh and halftime adjustments. So one of the things that seems to happen during every game is that Diggs kind of disappears in the second half. And I know that's not on Diggs, right? I mean, he wants the ball. We could see him from the field wide open, making routes, connecting to, just being sitting open in space, all of that kind of stuff. And moving around as Josh moved, everything the receiver is supposed to do, a top tier receiver. And
do you think that has anything to do with them? I mean, I guess in my opinion, it seems to be that they open up the playbook more in the second half. It's kind of, tunnel vision first half, like get it to Diggs. That's our guy. Like, when we're in trouble, go to him, and then once the second half comes, you start to see more people get involved. Obviously less focus on, just getting Diggs the ball and kind of spreading it around after halftime. Because then you had the Beasley catch, you had Davis get over, I want to say 60 to 70 yards in the second half. So,
yep.
Do you think it has anything to do with that, or?
I don't know. I never thought about it from I guess the Bills' perspective. I thought about it more from the other team's perspective and how they adjust at halftime, because it seems like Diggs definitely gets more double coverage and sometimes triple coverage in the second half. And it bothers me that the Bills still don't try to throw to him, because we know Josh can hit those windows. And like, I personally don't feel that opening the playbook to get the ball to guys who aren't your number one playmaker is a good idea if you can get it to your number one playmaker. I don't know what your thoughts are, Noah, but
I had an interesting theory that I heard that I kind of like that I think is actually true. Is the Bills are like the Chiefs, where they'll play with their food. And that's what I think. And that's like, and that was like something they like put into perspective. Like, that's kind of like what the mistakes are, and them that's not like functioning. It's them just like playing with their food, like knowing, like trying stuff on offense, like those deep shots, trying to hit those shots, trying to see what works because they know on the other side the defense has it shut down. So they're trying to see if they can get the big play, trying to see what they can do. And then Miami went up, and then when Miami went up, they went, oh, okay, we can score on these guys, no problem. And they went down the field and did it, and then they end up winning the game. And yeah, it was close, but I think the only reason it was really close was because they made the mistakes. But I'm kind of coming around on that idea where it's like this team's good enough, and I feel like the Chiefs do the same thing where they just get into this lull, and they're kind of just trying to see like what works. They're kind of letting the game go along because they're up, and then the other team might come storming back. But when it comes down to it, and this is also something I've said all the time, but when it comes down to it, players make the play that needs to be made, and they end up winning the game.
so what happens during the game when the player doesn't make the play?
He goes somewhere else.
The player does?
Josh. I mean, I don't think they open up the playbook in the second half. I think it's that Josh just looks to more guys in the second half. Like, I feel like
I think
he
that's
hits.
what CJ was saying.
He just,
that's opening the playbook.
yeah, but I don't know. I don't feel like they do anything super different. Like, I don't feel like it's opening the playbook. I just feel like it's Josh going, okay.
I think it's a comfortable thing too, though. Like, you have to think about like Josh too, in that, like, if you're coming into a game, playoff game, you're going to sit there and think to yourself, okay, what can I do to get myself into a rhythm? And that's going to be to hit Diggs 10 times in the first half. You know what I mean?
Which is what I think. Yeah. Which is what he did, And
yeah. And then I think once you get into that rhythm, you get that more confidence. It's okay. Now I can go to my second read. Now I can go to my third.
This is kind of what bothers me about Dorsey, though, is that I feel like he doesn't have enough confidence in Josh to read the whole field. And if he doesn't have that confidence, then he's not the right offensive coordinator, because Josh is one of the 3 best quarterbacks in the league. And you have to allow Josh to be Josh. How many times have we said that?
Mm-hmm.
For good or for bad. And he is who he is. And we have to accept that as fans.
I mean, do you think the hero ball has been taken away from him a little bit more?
Yes.
Because I've heard that from fans. I've heard that kind of be the
bang the drum.
Yeah, the thing that kind of fans keep saying, like even the other group chats I have, these guys aren't, the biggest football fans or know the most about football. And that's kind of what they're saying. You know what I mean? And that, like, I'm seeing a lot less hero ball. And I think they're kind of taking that away from him or trying to make him not do that as much.
Right, which I think is a mistake, because when he was playing hero ball, they were winning 40-10.
Yeah, but I think we talked about this last week. Like, I feel like when it comes to Miami, they were just kind of like, we got this. Because I listened to the mic'd up, and like, it was Dion and Tremaine, and no one on that sideline, even when Miami went up, like, sounded like there was any shakiness.
Was it just me, or did Dion play like one of his worst games?
He was not good.
He was not good, no.
Okay.
But he's been up and down all year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has been overrated.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, it's just such a fan. He's such a fan guy, I think, is what it really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, nobody wants to, crap on him because, like, all the fans love him. All the,
he's
even the guys that don't watch.
Man of the Year nominee. I mean,
right.
He is that guy. He's got Dion's Dreamers. He's got, he was there at the shootings. He was there, and some other, I mean, he's been there. And so, like you said, you don't want to, and he talks about loving Buffalo. So
yeah,
you don't want to like smash on the guy, but you have to be realistic looking at it from.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, let's look at a job performance, right? You know, a guy can be the friendliest guy you work with, right?
Right.
You know, nicest guy, caring, whatever. But if he can't do his job, it doesn't. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, he's not gonna be there long, is what I'm getting at. You know?
Yeah. So,
and and then I want to
go ahead.
Well, because I was talking about, like, you know, before we got into Dion and all that, like, I was listening to them, like I was saying, and, you know, like, they didn't sound shaky, but, like, I feel like when it comes to this team, like, I don't think anything phases them anymore. Like, I think, like, they were like, we saw our teammate die on the field. Like, this is I feel like in their mindset, they're like, this is a game and we can do this and we can win. And, like, I feel like when it came to this Miami game, like, yeah, the interception should have happened. The one hit off of Beasley's chest, and that fumble was just stupid. Like, that's the way I feel about it. Like, that was just a dumb turnover. Like, that's all it was, in my opinion. And yeah, you know, it cost them the lead, but, like, you know, you saw them coming off the field and, like, nobody hung their heads. Like I don't know. Like, that's like I feel like even when it comes to good teams like the Chiefs, like, they make a turnover and they're kind of hanging their heads and going, crap, you shouldn't have done that. I don't think you ever see that from this team. And I don't think there's another team in the NFL that even acts this way, where it's like, it doesn't seem to matter what happened. This team's just like, okay, let's go. Brick by brick. That's what they kept saying to each other on the sideline. They're like, brick by brick. And that seems to be like a super big mentality for them right now. And it's just, I don't know. It's just interesting. Because, like, when I do kind of agree. Like, I felt like they did, looking back on it. I don't think at the time I felt this way, but looking back on it, I do kind of think they did just kind of play around. Like, they just kind of were like,
I don't think you can do that in the playoffs. I
don't think you can do that in the playoffs going forward. Absolutely. But I think, like, they were like, this is Miami. We can.
And they almost lost.
I definitely felt the lulls, like I don't know how else to describe it, but, like, they definitely didn't seem as hyped. You know what I mean? Like, as it would have been a KC game, or as it will be for the Cincy game. Yeah.
I mean,
well, I think Cincy will be interesting because, one, they have a built-in excuse if they lose. Two, they have a built-in excuse if they win. Excuse is the wrong word. A built-in motivator if they win.
There's not much individual drive either way.
Right. And
I have a feeling
I mean, I think that's kind of what Noah's saying too, in that, not that they don't care, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and it's right. Like, I don't know what to call it, and I agree with you there. Like, it's not that they don't care; it's just that they're like, this is my
right. Well, but when something like that happens to someone, right, on a personal basis or whatever, like, you're there and witness something traumatic like that,
right,
you're going to adjust what you think is important and what you think is not important. And I think more than any team in the NFL right now, we are, you know, indifferent, you know, like, to what the outcome is. You know what I mean? Like,
I think we'll find that out
on
Sunday. That's what I feel like.
Well, that's what
they
Noah
could come
was
out guns blazing,
like,
or they could come out and go,
yeah,
there's those orange helmets, huh?
Which we kind of gauged during. I think the Patriots game was a good. Like, we all were going into that one like, okay, they could come out and they could just lose.
They might lose. Like,
right. They could come out and they could lose, or they'll come out and they'll trounce them. You know what I mean? And it was kind of like, what was funny to me about that was it really wasn't either one of those, and it was more of what the team has done all season, which was not do too good in the first half, but then pull away in the second half. You know what I mean? Like, need to adjust in the first half. You know, not the performance you're looking for in the first half, but then that second half, they've really put it together, pulled away from teams. You know what I mean? And I felt like we saw that a lot this year in general.
Well, and that's what Noah and I were saying at halftime. Like, okay, they take care of business, right?
Right.
And that's what they do. They come out, they're a second half team. So we were trying not to panic at halftime. You know,
yeah, but then the second half didn't really go that way, though. Like,
I mean, both teams scored 14 points. So, you know, I mean, and the Bills didn't score any in the fourth. So,
yeah. And so it's like, that wasn't that Miami game. I'm thinking more of the Patriots when I was referring to the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That situation, just talking about how they would respond to the Hamlin situation.
Yeah.
and you just kind of saw the same. You saw the same team play the same way. Now the Miami situation is obviously different. They didn't even get it together really in the fourth. They just kind of did enough to beat a third string quarterback, in my opinion, which, and I
Right.
think they felt that way, you know what I mean? Like, and I think they knew that,
Yeah.
like, oh, well, we just got to just do enough to beat him.
I think though this also goes back to the thing that we talk about all the time is the Bills just like to kind of play down to the level of their opponent, and then like we were always saying, at the last second, whoever needs to like make the play or whatever needs to happen ends up happening, and they win. Like they needed a touchdown. They march down the field and get Beasley in the end zone and score, and they're up. And then they do it again, and then they're up by 2 scores. And it's like, and before
there's
that, there
going
was
to
the
come a
fumble.
point
And,
where
absolutely,
they can't lean on that mentality. You just can't. You have to go out and win and just win.
this I think this week, I think we're all kind of
Start
saying
out
it'll just
hot.
be a huge indicator of what they're going to do. But I mean, I think though we should expect this team to come out flying. It's a big time game. This is super important. 3, kind
So
of.
what happens if they don't?
Then we lose, and that's the way it goes.
So
if they're not running on all cylinders and aren't super pumped up for this game and are going to kind of play like they did last week, I mean, they could play like they did last week. I mean, the defense could come out again. I mean, if the defense plays like it did last week, they could only have to score like 3 touchdowns, not even get to 17 points, and they would be fine.
I mean,
but Burrow could pick them apart in a
different
way.
That's
Tyler Thompson.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I've been looking a lot into
obviously, but
like statistics for the games and kind of just what teams have done in the regular season and then leading up to their postseason. And the Bengals last year got real hot at the end, and they kind of carried that into the postseason. And Burrow stayed fairly hot, and I don't think he was that last game, to be honest. So I think that
I don't think that
bodes well for us
team
too.
Really.
Yeah, no, their offense struggled. Defense, obviously, if they don't make that fumble touchdown, it's probably. I mean, I'm not to say they lose.
If they don't, I mean, he has the ball in the end zone, and the Ravens are up. If he does not make that play, the Ravens probably win that game.
Right.
Well, I guess that's the same thing we can say about the Bills then, right? So the Bengals go out and take care of business.
Yeah. But it's the offense that's struggling is more of the thing that you're seeing the difference between the two. If you look at the statistics of the teams, we had over 300 and I think he had almost 350 yards passing, over 100 and over 100 yards rushing. Trying to think. I mean, he had more turnovers, I think, but at the end of the day, the offense moved down the field a lot easier, put up more points.
Touchdowns and 3 turnovers.
Right. And Cincy, I think he had 209 passing. I think Mixon had less than 40 rushing yards. They maybe got to 50 or 60 total on the whole team so I'm just thinking that's obviously I think it's better for us because I don't think it's going to be a defensive game where both teams defenses are going to be the reason they win. I think it'll be on the offense, and I think if they're not hot.
Which team's defense is better?
Right now, I would say ours, and I know we played a third string quarterback, but I mean
let me
injuries everywhere.
Let me I do think objectively things don't carry over from game to game. That's one of the things that I've been thinking about this week. Your momentum, your whatever you have, and all of that kind of stuff, they don't carry over from game to game in the sense that if you played terribly last week, doesn't mean you're going to play terribly this week. If you fumbled the ball 3 times last week or threw 2 interceptions last week, it doesn't mean that you're poised to have 3 turnovers this week, that kind of thing. Right. So that's a big thing in the NFL that doesn't carry over into other sports. I think other sports rely on momentum through multiple games, right?
Well, yeah. I mean,
that kind
other
of thing.
sports have games that are closer together. So yeah, obviously.
Right.
But I still think, I mean, like, I still think though you can take a lot of good things that defense did and at least look at it on tape. And I mean, you should be able to do some of those things. I mean, yeah, I think Burrow's gonna get hit. I think this is gonna be a high scoring. I mean, I said this when they met the first time. I could see this being one of the highest scoring games ever in the history of the NFL. I could see these two teams going toe to toe and both defenses being exhausted and being like, we can't keep up with these guys. Because if you look at the strengths of the defense, both offenses have good wide receivers. And, on the other side, yes, we have Trey, but, they also have Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, and they're not going to get shut down by who we have. They'll be open, and they have a good tight end too, and we have a good tight end. So and then you're looking at who the Bengals have on the other side. They have their star safety in Jesse Bates, but everybody else is kind of iffy.
I just think they're not household names, but I think they're very good. That's how I feel about the Bengals defense. I mean,
I'm not saying that the Bengals defense is bad. I'm just saying like both teams on both sides have offensive weapons that should be able to exploit both defenses. Like, and where both defensive struggles have been the same struggles throughout the year, and both offensives have excelled in the places where both defenses have struggled. I think this is going to be high passing, high scoring. I think
so. One of the things is that Burrow gets the ball out in under 2.5 seconds when he's being blitzed, and his QBR or his QB rating is like off the charts when he's being blitzed.
Yeah,
and so they need to get home with the line, and we need to.
What are you doing?
We need to figure out how to do that. And like, I'm not entirely sure that they can. I'm just not. I'm not sold on it. Like,
and I think, and I agree with that. I'm not sold on that either. But I think that this could be another game, where you just like try to beat up the receivers. I mean, I don't think that I think what you got to do to the Cincy team is you have to make them drive. You can't let them get the big play, the bang bang play, and let them just do that consistently. I think you have to like keep them to like these long sustained drives and be like score on us like a normal offense. I think I don't think you blitz a lot. I think you just go with a lot of DBs on the field, and if Burrow picks you apart, hopefully it's not for big plays. It's for 5-10 yards. And I think you take that if you're the Bills. I just think you don't give up the big play. You keep everything in front of you and you make this team systematically drive down the field. And if they can do that, first of all, a lot of time should be taken off the clock. I think that should be a goal. Taking time off the clock on both sides. But
you think it's going to be a 52 to 50?
Well, I'm saying if you're the defense, I think this is your expectation. But I don't think it's going to happen because I think both quarterbacks are just too good. And yes, Josh has had his struggles, but again, I think when it comes to playing these teams, like I think he's going to see Burrow throw a touchdown and be like, okay, I can go match that. Whatever you could do, I can do better. And I have a feeling that that's the way this game is going to go between the two of them.
Are Singletary and Cook better than Mixon and Perrine?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so we're down at wide receiver. We're down at running back. Even if we want to say the offensive lines are even, according to PFF, Cincinnati's is way better than ours. But we know there's some injuries. And we know that that's PFF.
I think these teams are more even than people are going to give them credit for. Honestly. I really do. But I think at the end of the day, I'm always going to say it. No matter how close it's going to be, I think we're going to win. Because when it comes, it's just every single time when it comes down to it with this team, whatever needs to happen just happens for them. Like, I don't know what it is. They make the interception. They make, they do the fumble or they get the touchdown drive.
So McKenzie is going to be healthy. Do you play him this week?
I think you just put as many weapons as you can on the field.
You think he's a weapon more than Shakir?
I don't think more, but I think I mean, he
Or
has
John
chemistry
Brown.
with Josh. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. I just think you just want as many possible weapons on the field, especially if this game starts to get into a shootout.
You trust McKenzie over Shakir or John Brown?
I trust them the same. I mean, again, when McKenzie has bad drops and has done bad things, but I feel like when it comes down to it with McKenzie, when they do need him, he does show up.
When they call the right play. That
Right.
That's the thing. When they call the play that will utilize McKenzie, that's how McKenzie will go. And again, you have to have the faith in Dorsey to be able to do that. And I don't know where my faith in Dorsey is right now.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: we've seen Dorsey call great games throughout the years and throughout the year and have great play calls. I mean, he called a really good game.
Well, it's hard to say he's a not good offensive coordinator when you're averaging 30 points a game.
Yeah.
Right? So what's frustrating is just when you watch it and you go,
yeah,
this is frustrating. Like, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah.
But I think I don't know.
I mean, it'll be fun. I think the game will be fun. I mean, I don't think we're gonna get smoked. I just don't see that happening because
I think the only way it happens is if the Hamlin thing just gets in their head.
Yeah, like I don't see them. I don't see us getting smoked. I see this game being extremely close.
But I will say this: if the Hamlin thing gets in their head, Hamlin will either be waiting for them in the locker room, or McDermott will have some amazing speech that will rouse them and turn the Hamlin thing around, right?
Yeah.
So
I think Hamlin might be there. So
yeah, I think so too. They haven't announced a
yeah.
legend of the game.
Oh, it's Molds.
Oh, it's Moles?
Yeah.
That's stupid.
But the Bengals players were talking about hoping to get to see Hamlin and all this stuff. So
that's good.
Like T. Higgins says, he hopes it's all. He said it's going to be smiles and giggles.
Smiles and giggles.
What I mean.
T and DeMar.
T and D.
So blah, blah, blah. So is Gabe Davis just a playoff beast and not a regular season beast?
Yeah. I mean, and that's fine.
CJ, thoughts on Gabe Davis? What do you do with this guy?
Man, that's tough. I don't know. Like, his presence isn't felt enough for majority of the season. I just don't know if you can say that you don't think about bringing someone else in.
Oh, I think they definitely need to bring in another receiver. I mean, when you look at,
I think you need a 2A and a 2B.
When you look at Kansas City, right? They don't have any specific names, but their receiving core as a whole is really good, right? I mean, Valdez Scantling and
Hardman and bunch of
Juju, right? But then they also have Kelsey, who's going to the Hall of Fame and is probably the best tight end in the history of the game. So, we looked at those heat charts, and it was really interesting to see when we saw the heat charts, where the difference between where Josh throws the ball and where Mahomes throws the ball,
right?
Because Josh throws deep into the corners and into those spots where we know Beasley likes to go.
Wide receiver can get it.
Right. And Mahomes is throwing everything up the middle because Kelsey's there. And it's like everything for Mahomes is like right up the middle or, fairly close to the line of scrimmage. They don't go deep very often. It seems, from what I can tell, they get their I mean, Juju's not a speedster. He's not a deep guy. Valdez Scantling is probably their
Hardman.
And Hardman. Yeah, that's right. Hardman.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They don't play him enough.
Well, Hardman's been hurt. That's the other thing. He's been in and out.
Yeah.
But
So the spread moved to 5.5.
yeah.
It was 4.5 yesterday. It was 3.5 to start.
Wow. 240 money line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, I think they could cover that. I doubt it because they've been terrible against the spread this year, I feel like. But
All playoff teams have been terrible, except for one.
Yeah.
Like only one cover.
Yeah.
But I
So
think they win. I mean,
CJ, are they going to win or lose?
The Bills, they're gonna win. I mean, I just don't see a way that we don't have an advantage against their offensive line. I think you get in there and you rattle Burrow, I think we'll be all right.
The way I don't see that we have an advantage is we haven't gotten pressure. You know what I mean? Like we really haven't gotten pressure without Vaughn, especially in the last couple
yes and
games.
no.
I mean,
I mean,
teams have really
When you say
focused on
pressure, do you mean like contact with the quarterback or
even
making him move out of the pocket?
just getting him into situations where he gets nervous,
uncomfortable, like
and he
you're
isn't
landing near
Skylar
his
Thompson,
legs, or
who's
you're
going to
getting
get
real
nervous
close
on
to
every
him or
down.
whatever.
Yeah. So like,
I don't know. I mean, when it comes to, I expect this team to step up. I mean, they know they gotta play better than last week, and they've been talking about that all throughout the week in the turnovers, and they were kind of like, yeah, the turnovers aren't the best, but that's also kind of the way it goes sometimes too.
Well, and that goes back to what I was saying. It doesn't carry over from game to game, right? So,
right.
The guy,
whole new stats this game.
The referees, though, speaking of stats,
god awful. Never want those referees again.
The referees for this game are Sheffers, and the Bills are 10-2.
Oh,
when Sheffers is their over the past 2 years, I think, when Sheffers is their official.
Wow. Don't they call like everything under the sun though?
Is
that one of those crews?
I don't know. I mean, you got to prepare for it, right?
Yeah.
They know.
Especially after what happened with the Dolphins game. That was just, I don't think I've ever seen a ref crew be like that. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that. Like, I know I've ever seen or whatever.
Go ahead.
But like the fact that you let 2 plays happen when a timeout was being called, and then, or 3 plays.
Yeah.
And then like 2 of them, one was on a 4th down and we stopped them. One was a deep pass for us that would have gotten us a 1st down, and we had to go and do it again.
No, we did.
And then the other one, Shaq Lawson almost killed Skylar Thompson, like, because he was completely untouched. And I'm like, why are you not trying harder to shut down the play?
Right.
Like, period. Like, why are you letting the timeout is happening? The coach is right there, but you let the whole play go on, or you like let
that happen a couple other times.
Get in front of Shaq Lawson and be like, "Yo, we're blowing the whistle." Like, sit there and preach player safety, and then you let things that shouldn't happen. Like, and then the reviews. Oh my god,
the reviews felt like a long time, but I think they may have felt like a long time because did
the game feel as long watching it on TV? Like, did you?
They said it was the longest first quarter in like the history of the playoffs.
Was the longest Bills game.
Oh, it was it was definitely long. I didn't really feel it, but I just started to realize it was 4:30. The game's not over. We still got 5, 6-7 minutes left. And
it was longer than that. At 4:30, we turned to each other and went, there's still a quarter left.
Yeah, I think it was maybe 5 minutes because I remember right. I was like, oh man, it's 4:30, and I think there was like 5 minutes left in the third. Like in the stadium, I felt like people could like
people started yelling,
like, oh my god, let's go! Like, so I feel like it's still different when you're watching on TV because you get like commercials and stuff, and you kind of get like a break. But when you're there in the stadium and you're just standing watching,
and they're telling you, don't do anything for the next 2.5 minutes.
Commercial. Yeah, I bet.
You're just sitting there watching the same replay, and you're like, I know that's a catch. What are we still looking at? Like,
but it wasn't a catch.
He has his arm underneath the ball. Like, what are we doing? Come on. Like,
but it wasn't a catch. They ruled it not a catch.
Well, that one, yeah, but
So Matt Milano played a great game. 2 sacks, 8 tackles.
Edmonds did too.
Edmonds did too.
Great linebacking tandem.
Great linebacking tandem. Is Milano dirty?
No. I mean that he was no. That was fine. I don't care about that hit. I know exactly what hit you're talking about. Where Stonson was running out of bounds and he just like leveled him.
That's one of them. Yep.
When
He also knocked off Tua. I mean, earlier in the season, and there was another one
Both
from
normal
earlier in the
plays.
season.
I don't care if he's going out of bounds. If he's not out of bounds yet and you're able to make the hit on the quarterback, you're going to take it. I mean, how many times have we heard defensive guys talk about that?
Yeah.
You know?
No, I don't think he was out of bounds from what I could tell.
He would have
But-
gotten the flag. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, the refs were right there.
Right.
But
And also, they're going to protect the quarterback, you know? They're not
CJ, you
gonna
seem to be
mess around
thinking
with
about that and processing it a little bit more. What do you think?
I mean, I like, I don't know. I guess when you put all those things together, like, I don't want him to be a dirty player, but I just think it's like the
it. I think he's the
kind of guy he's got to be it, you know, to be where he's at, you know, just kind of not stop, you know, I don't, because it can be mistaken for, you know what I mean? Like, you can say he's dirty, or it can be mistaken for him just being like overzealous, but at the
High
same
motor.
time, yeah, exactly. Like, so it's tough.
I think he's one of those guys who like knows the rule books like the back of his hand
And what he
knows,
can get away with.
and knows what he can get away with. And he's one of those guys who walks right up to the line.
Yeah, but what I
then
mean
is just
to
like,
me, what is a linebacker
there.
supposed to be though? Like,
Oh, yeah,
were we
I
not
agree.
raised on guys that were just like that exact way, knew exactly how to toe that line of like hitting somebody illegally versus like, you know, just a great hit or whatever, and like they knew exactly how to do that. You know,
Yeah.
they're always the edgy guys. You know, Lewis.
Yeah.
You know, San Francisco linebackers stick out to me too, and you know, older guys. It's just kind of how you have to be in that. You know, I don't know. It's just the way it is. I guess
He was that way. He flew all over the field, tried to lay bone rushing hits. I mean, when you think of good middle linebackers, right?
So, so it looks like Dorsey and Frazier are not going to get head coaching jobs. They're both coming back next year.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
Which is fine. I'm good with that.
yeah, I'm good with it. I mean,
do you know Frazier stays on the sidelines?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thought he was up in the box, but
no, he's not.
Yeah.
They brought him down after the talk.
Oh, yeah, because I was watching. Well, like I was saying, you know, I was watching them mic'd up, and all of a sudden it said Frazier, and he just like walks by the whole defense. I was like, "Good job," and then goes back to the sideline.
Yeah,
Dude, they were so excited for Elam, like when he got the
Mhm.
interception. It was really cool.
yeah, it was good to see. So,
And then when Marlowe did too, they were
yeah,
excited for him because I think a lot of the guys remembered him.
Marlowe
obviously.
is jacked. I don't know if you saw him post game,
Mm-mm.
but he looked like.
Well, maybe he lost some of his speed. Maybe
And I
that's
was
why.
like, holy cow! He looks like
He had a good. I thought the defense played really well. I mean, yeah, you're facing, but still,
they
I don't
have to
know.
just keep it all in front of them again.
Yeah.
Bend don't break. Blah blah blah.
Patriot way. You know,
We've been saying it all year.
do your job, brick by
and-
brick. Don't blink.
Right.
Burn it all.
Burn it all. Win all 4. Win the next 4.
Win it all.
Right. So I lost my last. Oh, Elam. So who's the starter at corner? Is it Elam or God, I
Dane.
want to say Lewis, but Jackson.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be Dane if he's healthy. But then
CJ
You said at safety?
at corner.
Oh,
Elam or Jackson? Who do you start this week?
Elam.
Reason?
Because he played well last week.
Well, Dean got helped off the field by by two guys halfway through the third, right?
I mean, I
So,
think you still kind of just do. I mean, hasn't it always been somewhat of a rotation,
yeah,
regardless of who starts? I guess.
we're
Yeah,
gonna go with
Elam
the
hasn't
hot
been
goalie theory.
Elam hasn't been a much part of that rotation lately, I guess.
No,
But yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on the health of Jackson, and I think it just depends on how the game's going to go. But I think if you're going to start, I think if he's healthy, I think it's going to be Jackson, and then yeah, from there, like CJ was saying, you just throw in Elam, do the rotation and do what you do.
okay, yes, I concur. So this is the first words I've heard on Kim Pagula, in the Jordan Poyer interview. This is honestly the first things I've heard about her, and since
Yeah, you just mentioned her
they
briefly,
said,
but
yeah, but what he said was
her
very
thing.
interesting.
Going through her things.
Well, it was beyond that, though. I don't know if you saw the interview.
Mhm.
Poyer's interview was almost like a goodbye interview. I don't know if you felt that way, but it seemed like a, because he said the Bills Mafia has been great for me. Everyone in Buffalo is really, lovely. He's
Great
like,
people.
the
Yeah.
Bills have always treated me good. And then Rachel Bush is out there going, my man's going to be a free agent. It's hard to imagine.
Yeah, they're not
You
paying
know,
him though. I don't see with
Yeah.
everybody with Edmonds and stuff like that. I just don't see if he wants 19 mil or more. Like I don't see it.
no, I agree. I
mean,
agree. I'm just
if you're
saying
gonna pick between Poyer and Edmonds and who you want to
Yeah,
keep right
it's over
now,
with. It's not a question.
it's not a question. And even you throw in Oliver in
you
there.
still have
and
Micah Hyde
Yeah.
under contract. Like, yes,
For another year.
you're gonna split up the safety tandem, but you've also seen that having at least one of them
I think
is
it
fine.
guarantees a DB drafted first round if he leaves.
You think so?
There are some good safeties who should be late.
There are good
With
safeties.
the Hamlin
And
thing,
I
it's
would
just-
like them to draft
Jordan
a,
Catalan.
I would we'll talk draft some other day. But I we'll talk draft some other day. I would like them to draft a receiver just to get another weapon. But
I feel like
there aren't
I
any
feel like when
really
you're going to get that
great.
late in a draft, you're better.
Yeah,
off
but
waiting.
that
There are also some good linemen too.
that Ingabidja, that guy from Ohio State.
No, he's going like top 10. No shot.
He's dropped.
Yeah, they say that.
I know. Anyway, well, if that's the case, then
If that's the case, then maybe Will Anderson will fall all the way down, and then we could just take a linebacker.
well, that would be interesting. I mean, if you lose Edmonds, you're taking a linebacker,
Well, yes, but I
Right.
mean, like you could have
or you're signing
Three.
a linebacker.
you could have 3 starters if you were able to draft Will Anderson out of Alabama, but that's not going to happen.
Well, what about Terrell Bernard? I understand he's not Will Anderson, but you drafted him for a reason.
You did, but I don't know. Has he shown enough this year for you to remain confident that you don't need to bring in somebody?
Has he been given the chance?
I thought he was
When?
earlier in the year when they had like the injuries and stuff.
I
tried
feel like they
playing him,
played
tried throwing
Balin
him out there, and
Spector
then they were
ahead
like,
of him.
no.
That they were like,
Yeah, I feel like they tried giving both Spector and Bernard a chance, and they were like, "Ooh, you guys can remain out in special teams. We're gonna, get AJ Klein off of the waivers and put in Manikevich instead."
yeah. So anyway, back to the Kim Pagula news and the way that I took it. What Poyer said was, he said, Buffalo has been through a lot and we have been through a lot. And what he said was, he started with the top shooting, and then he said the top shooting and the stuff that Mrs. Pagula is going through, like at the same level.
Ugh.
Yeah, he was like Mrs. Pagula and her things,
Right.
going through her things. He was like, yeah, he was like the top shooting. He was like, and then Mrs. Bagula going through her things, and he was like, Micah going out, and the snowstorms, and
Yeah.
Right.
he's like then
Yeah, yeah.
Hamlin. He's like,
Bro.
But
he's
he
just been through it all.
included that in all of these tragedies and stuff like that are like,
Well, if he said like the Micah injury, that's not like a tragedy though.
no, but I mean, maybe it was to him. But
Well, then
Well-
he also said Vaughn too. Like,
that's
but
true.
I think
But,
it's
like,
all
I
on the
think
same level because I think that
He knows.
obviously going into the year you don't want to see your safety tandem broken up like that. But I think like they expected to have Vaughn, they expected to have Micah, they expected to probably honestly be the number one defense again. And I think to them that it is kind of a tragedy to see these guys get hurt all year and not be able to play with them and that kind of stuff because
well, it's just to get piece by piece taken down, right?
yeah.
Out of that defense and being like, okay, we have to ramp it up another level and then
Yeah.
another level. And like for the guys who stay healthy, it's like
If they win the Super Bowl, like this is just a movie that you could start from like the shooting just on.
yeah,
Like
or even the end of last season. I mean,
yeah, I think you started at the end of last season the way it
Right?
ended.
I mean,
13 seconds.
I'll start
Is all
writing.
it took.
I'll start writing it.
Start writing the screenplay.
Yeah.
Who plays Josh in a fictional movie?
Who plays Josh in a fictional movie?
Chris Pratt. No.
No, I don't want Chris
No,
Pratt.
you need.
People keep talking about Chris Pratt and
I
Josh
was just
looking
joking.
alike, and
They do. It's because it's the face, but he doesn't have that same. I mean, obviously,
thin. He doesn't have like the
it's like
chin.
it's like his face is too built, and Josh is more like a kid. Like he looks like a baby. When you shave Josh's beard, he looks like a baby.
All right.
And in my opinion, he's older than I am, but
How about
I also look
Timothy-
like a
how
child
about
if you shave my
Timothy
beard. So does that
Chalamet?
work? No,
No,
no.
not
I
Timothy
think you could.
Chalamet.
Who's a good like built young actor?
Schwarzenegger's kid.
Yeah. I can't even think of anybody, but yeah, you get like one of those.
Guys.
I was gonna say like Tom Holland if he was taller. I can think.
No,
I
he
have
play like Cole
I have.
or
Yeah, that's
something.
true. I have somebody in my head, but I can't think of what their name is. I can see their face, and it's the most annoying thing in the world, and I can't think of who
Their
it is.
face is the most annoying thing in the world.
No, like that. I can't think of their name. I can't put a name to the face, but I have an idea. I just can't think of who it is.
So okay. Well, let's circle back. Last thing on Kim Pagula, is that the Sabres announced she's no longer CEO and COO of the team, and that they've hired a guy who has been with the team as an advisor for like 5 years, but he's now the official COO of the team, which was Kim's position with both the Bills and the Sabres.
But she's just giving it up with the Sabres. That's
for
what I
now,
thought.
that's what they're doing.
Yeah,
the
okay.
Sabres, it's just that the Sabres have announced it. I
I
don't
think
know
also
that
when it
this is
comes-
not the time to announce it if you're the Bills,
Well, yeah, no.
right?
But I think also though that when it comes to the two teams, I mean, technically you don't need a CEO where the Bills are right now. For the Sabres, you can announce this right now because you're still kind of midway through the season, and there's still stuff that obviously there's stuff that the COO does all the time, but when it comes to the playoffs, there's less. I mean, Russ Brandon's interviews went up when the playoffs,
the basic gist of the notification was the hockey side is going to remain the hockey side, and he's taking over the financials
for the hockey side,
No, for the team. He's
for the Sabres,
yeah,
for the hockey side, right?
Oh, when they released it for the Sabres, they said Kevin Adams will remain in charge of the hockey.
Oh, that's what you mean.
Yes.
Okay.
And all of the people who report to Kevin Adams will report to Kevin Adams, who will report directly to Terry Pagula.
I thought we were still talking Bills Sabres with her roles.
No. So,
CJ would have been good if you were like, describe it to the viewers.
Oh, I'm glad we went over the Poyer situation. Well, because there's a lot of people that don't understand like what he was talking about, or like you know what I mean, why he was
Yeah.
talking like that, and like you know what I mean. And so
Yeah.
I felt like I was gonna say something earlier about that. And I'm glad we went over it.
Step in, man. We've talked about this.
Well, we got there organically. I think that's the better
That's true.
play.
So I'm gonna give you a situation to both of you.
Oh boy.
Last season, before this season,
Okay.
a coach goes 9-8.
Okay.
He gets fired. Okay. He adds 3 Pro Bowlers and 2 players from the new coach and the same team.
Okay, thank you
And-
for specifying. I was lost there for a second.
Adds 3 Pro Bowl players at very important positions.
Okay.
Adds another offensive player at a very important position. Improves the offensive line. And had the same record as the coach from the year before. Did he over or underachieve? Did he underachieve? I'll just ask it that way.
Are you talking about Hackett?
No. Hackett was fired mid-season, so.
Oh, okay.
What are you talking about?
So the only other people that like fit that kind of to me is okay. Oh, that's weird. I'm still where I'm okay. The question. So
that's the question. You don't have
underachieving.
You don't have to figure out who it is because I'll tell you who it is.
Okay.
So I just want to know that based on that question, did he underachieve?
Definitely.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if you're first year coach or not. You added better players.
Yeah, if you spent more money, you know, you spent more money, brought those guys in, and it didn't equal out to more success. I think, you know, but again, I'm also for the mind state of like, you got to wait on things, take time to build things, and you know, I guess better than backwards.
You know, I agree. I always agree with that sentiment, but you shouldn't be 9-8, especially if you're adding Pro Bowlers to a good roster.
What division are they in?
AFC East.
Oh,
is this New England?
No.
Yeah,
New England has a new head coach.
New England has a new head coach, right? No,
and neither do the Jets.
Oh, you're talking about your boy. Gotcha.
Okay.
You're talking about Miami. Your favorite head coach in the league. Mike McDaniels. Yes, gotcha.
So
I think
successful. That's funny. That was a setup right there.
That was such a setup.
It really was. It was a good one.
You're so proud of yourself.
I am.
See why I hate him?
But I think even if you were to sit there and ask Miami fans, even with the first year head coach, I still think they thought they underachieved because they had. I mean, they went on a 3-game win streak. They went on a 3-game losing streak. They went on a 4-game winning streak. They went on a 4-game losing streak, and then they won like their I
don't know. You have to say the quarterback.
And they went on like a 5-game and then a 5-game losing streak or something. Like their winning and losing streaks have matched throughout the year. So I would think that's very up and down. But I feel like if you would have asked Miami fans, yeah.
I mean, how many games did you not have your starting quarterback?
I feel like 7 is underperforming a 7 seed. I bet they expected to be better than 9-8. They probably expected to compete with us for the division. They did not do that.
No, they didn't. I get your to a point. I understand the to a point, and I left that out.
Right. 6 games,
purposely.
5 games. I don't know. That to me, as a fan base, if I'm them,
I can't hear you.
You can't. Well, let me see.
Oh, I can hear you.
I can't. What?
Because like you didn't respond to what I said before, so I was surprised that.
So weird.
I thought you couldn't hear me for a second, but then Todd responded, so I was like, okay, maybe they can't hear me.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I could hear us, but I couldn't hear you. for whatever reason. I don't know. In my earbud. So
Yeah.
weird. Anyway, continue.
I was just if I'm a Miami fan, that has a lot to do with how I judge a season. You know what I mean? And if Josh gets hurt and is not playing 6 games, and we end up 9-8, I'm not. I don't. It's tough for me to say that's a failure. You know what I mean? Like,
Are Tua and Josh on the same level?
no, but I'm just saying it from a fan base standpoint. If we lose our quarterback who played well,
I mean, they brought in all of the tools around him.
right. But
any quarterback could.
he looked to take a step forward this year, right? I mean, that we can agree on.
He definitely did. I agree.
Okay. So, not saying he's on Josh's, but I'm saying that what he brings to the offense is was showed in the statistics between quarterbacks, right? So when you put Bridgewater in, you got this result. When you put Thompson in, you got this result. When you put him in, you had the best result. You had the most stats. So as a fan base, that's what I would have to go to. Is I'd be like, okay, well, give him a full year if he can play a full year.
If he can play a full year,
right? I mean, that's even tougher because it's like that is out of your control 100%. You know what I mean? Like the guy's concussion history and what, how that's going to affect him moving forward.
Right.
So it's like it's a tough year. You know what I mean? Like,
right. If he even, I mean, if he can get out
I feel like every single update is just the same. Like, Tua's just trying to remember what day of the week it is, and he's trying to remember his ABCs, and he's also trying to count to 10, and that's what we're focusing on right now.
Yeah, they said they plan on it being there next year, but
yeah, I mean they've committed to him.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think also you could be like, I don't know,
the guy in the middle of the lawsuit, right?
Right. I don't know if we're gonna commit to him.
I think we're gonna go the other way on this one.
He said 2 concussions that definitely weren't anything to do with us.
They didn't have anything to do with us.
It was all the NFL. So I think we're just gonna move on.
Yeah.
No big deal here. Nothing happened.
That would look bad.
All right. So Mike McDaniel underachieved.
You got it. Clip it.
I will. That would be a good clip.
Mike McDaniel underachieved.
No.
The 9-8.
The setup.
Yeah.
Suspicious. NBC Sports is suspicious. Yes.
Okay. Coaching carousel check-in.
Coaching carousel check-in. Do you have a Sabre score?
It's 1-0 Islanders.
So the Sabres can't score anymore.
Guess not. They've had like 3 chances too, so like 3 really good chances that WGR tweeted about. So that they were like actually good chances.
Okay. So is it that the teams have caught up to Tage, and now he can't do the toe drag, and so now he has to figure out a different way?
Because it's not like they're not. Like, it's not like they're getting shut down. Like, they're getting their chances. They're in these games again.
They're just not getting to 4.
They're just the bounces aren't going their way. And I know, like, everybody hates that or whatever, but, like, it's true. Like, they're hitting stuff off the post. They're doing, like, they're getting the puck by the goalies. It's just that they're not. It's not going to. It's home. Like, I don't know.
So
they don't look bad.
We're gonna talk again in a month or so about the trade deadline because the trade deadline is March 3rd. And obviously a month or so would be a week or 2 before March 3rd. So we're gonna definitely talk about it then, but we'll see where the Sabres are at. But as of right now, would you be a buyer or seller?
I think I'm going to be a conservative seller. Like, I think there are obviously guys that you can get rid of. Like, you can get rid of Hinostroza. I think you go talk.
Well, they tried to get rid of Hinostroza, and they had to.
Yeah, but I think at the deadline it could be different. I mean, at the deadline there could be an injury. Teams looking for a bottom 6. You never know. You could get out of it. Behind 1 after 1. They could get like a low pick. So you never know. But I think as it stands right now, you're a conservative seller. You obviously are keeping the guys you're going to keep, but there are guys you can move. for the right price. But if you don't, I don't think you're going to sit there and go, why did I not do anything? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Coaching.
Why is Isaiah Hodgins the number one trending thing on NBC Sports? Anyway, coaching. So it's looking like Sean Payton is headed towards Denver.
Okay.
More and more like that. What do we feel?
I think that makes the most sense. I think that's probably just Peyton wanting to be like, I want to play with another Drew Brees. I want to play with an established quarterback. Because, I mean, like, the defense is there. If you're able to turn Russ and that offense around and get them going, I mean, what was it? What was the thing? They had to score, 16 points, and they win, 10 games?
He has Vic Fangio lined up to be the defensive coordinator.
Seriously?
Yeah.
The former head coach of the okay.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
No, there's another Minnesota fired Ed Donatel.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Zimmer's on their list.
Okay. I mean, these are guys that are good coordinators. It's just weird that you fired them and are like, but we're fine with you coming back as coordinator. Head coach? No.
Right. No, I agree.
But also, if you're them, why would you want to go back there as coordinator?
I don't know. I mean, as a coordinator, you're a hot name. Right?
Right.
I mean, Zimmer has to be the top of a lot of lists.
Yeah.
Right?
I would assume.
And Fangio has to be right up there too. But they're saying that's who, and maybe it's if I go to Denver, I understand it's not you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that kind of thing.
You think that makes the most sense, CJ, for Peyton to go to Denver?
Yeah, I mean, probably the more complete roster. You know, you'd have to. I don't know. It's tough with the Russ situation because he's really not liked in the locker room right now. And
yeah, you got to turn that around and be sure that you can do it.
Yeah.
But I think if you're Sean Payton, you're sitting there going, I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think also then, I think we also said last week that the best option outside of him going to the Chargers, which obviously is going to happen because they're using their offensive coordinator as a scapegoat.
Right.
This was the most logical choice for him if he didn't want to create, which I don't think he is that type of coach.
He has said he doesn't want to rebuild.
Right. So I think out of all your options, that's where you want to go.
Yep. All right. So today, John Harbaugh has said that Lamar will be involved. Oh, well, the reason he said this is because Greg Roman has stepped away from Baltimore. And
after this offense had the best years, I guess I was reading something today that I was really shocked by, but somebody was like, I don't know how happy Lamar's going to be that his offensive coordinator, that he just had the best year of his career with, and this offense apparently had the best stats it's ever had since he's been offensive coordinator too. And I was like, seriously?
Who gets hurt every year. He there has to be something about getting destroyed in the pocket that
apparently
you get sick of.
This was their best year offensively, statistically, and this was the best year for Lamar statistically as well under Roman.
Well, when you bring Sammy Watkins in.
Oh, yeah, that was the big game changer.
Yeah. But so Roman has stepped out, and Harbaugh has said Lamar will be 200% involved in the decision, even though they haven't signed him yet.
Yeah. Because they said if they're not going to sign him, they're going to franchise tag him. So I don't think he's going anywhere.
That's fair. The favorite in Arizona is Brian Flores.
Okay. I'll take that's good for him.
Yeah, you better bring in a really good offensive guy, though.
Yeah. I'm sure he's got guys lined. I mean, every one of these guys has guys lined up, right? The favorite in Carolina is Shane Steichen from Philly.
Okay.
their defensive coordinator. We're okay?
Mhm.
Okay. The defensive coordinator of Philly.
Mm.
Young guy, Carolina can't get a name. Right? They're a mess of a franchise.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're a head coach heading to Carolina, you have to fully expect to like.
You have to buy into a rebuild for one
Well,
thing.
yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to blow up that. You gotta fully expect to blow up that roster. But I think that Carolina is gonna hire the head coach that walks in with the 5-year plan. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, and as Steichen, whatever his name is, he's got to hit while the iron's hot, right? I mean, you're the defensive coordinator for Philly, right? If Philly takes a step back next year, are you still going to be a name?
That's true. Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's going to be Wink Martindale or whatever when the Giants take over or whoever, you know.
Yeah.
Houston, speaking of Philly, is Jonathan Gannon, Philly's offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I like that move too.
Same deal.
He's done a lot with their offense.
I think it's the same deal to me. I mean, you hit while the iron's hot. You know you're going into a rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
You probably are going to trade up for the number 1 pick. You or Indy are going to trade up for the number 1 pick, right?
Yeah. I'm going to try. Yeah. You don't know what Chicago's going to do, but yeah.
What I've been reading is Will Levis is projected to go too.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know about that one, but okay. We'll see.
I think people are just afraid of Alabama quarterbacks. And in Indianapolis, the favorite is Raheem Morris.
That would, yeah. I mean, I think I've been championing Raheem Morris.
Me
getting
too.
A job. So
he deserves a job. I agree. Are there other openings right now? Denver, Houston, Indy, Atlanta. Oh,
coordinator
let's go to coordinators. So, Atlanta has a defensive coordinator open. Cleveland has a defensive coordinator open.
Jim Schwartz is actually in the lead.
No, Jim Schwartz was hired. Jim Schwartz was hired. He was hired over Brian Flores, Jared Mayo.
He did well there.
Denard Wilson. I don't know, man. He's a good coordinator.
He's a good defensive coordinator, and that's about it.
If they could have gotten Brian Flores, I mean, I know Flores,
I think he wants to be a head coach. I don't think he wants to.
Yeah, I mean,
but I mean, he'll get what he gets, yes, but he'll
Yeah.
take what he takes. But I think he's waiting for a head coaching job.
well, he's going to Arizona, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Patriots need an offensive coordinator. Alabama's Bill O'Brien is in the lead.
Okay.
The one and only Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, he's great. They should get him. What do you think about that, CJ?
Bill O'Brien, where?
New England.
Oh, I mean, they do that all the time. I just feel like has he not been back there a few times? Like,
yeah, like 4. Like just recycling.
Well, he was there 2 years ago and then left to go to Alabama, and now he's going to leave Alabama again to go back there.
Well, when he got fired from Houston, he went to New England.
Right, and then
Yeah.
now
And then he went to Alabama
last
And
year.
then
and
now he's going to go back there again to teach
Mac Jones how to throw a football.
Mac Jones everything he knows about football.
Yeah.
Do it. Jets offensive coordinator Darrell Bevell is in the lead with Nathaniel Hackett right on his heels.
Oh, they get Hackett.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want Bevell going there.
Why? Bevell's the one who chose to throw the ball and have Butler intercept it for the Seahawks.
Okay, maybe I do.
Rams offensive coordinator right now, they're saying is Mike LaFleur.
Did you guys hear about all the LaFleur stuff that's coming out now? that like apparently the reason why Elijah Moore wanted a trade was because him and LaFleur didn't get along, and he like
Yes.
told LaFleur to F off one day. LaFleur never believed in Wilson since like he got drafted. He never wanted Wilson, never wanted anything to do with Wilson. Literally told the players that the offense runs better without Wilson as a quarterback, and he named Josh Johnson. He named the quarterbacks that they had on their roster and said that the under Josh Johnson and Flacco and Mike White and like all this stuff that's now coming out after he's been let go. Shocking.
That is.
I'm shocked that it's coming out now.
Yeah, after the fact, right? So back to the Rams, they said Mike LaFleur is basically a lock there. He's going to step in and under McVay and do their thing. Titans offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, they've interviewed already. Matt Nagy would be a terrible decision.
No, it would be a great decision.
It'd be great for us, I guess. And a couple other guys who I've never heard of. Washington Commanders offensive coordinator. Apparently, Pat Shurmur's in the lead. He's old. Ken Zampese.
That's just
he's old.
Yeah,
Eric Studesville, a former Bills coach. And then
we got everybody.
Yeah, the Colts will have a whole thing to fill out.
They interviewed Saturday today.
Not D'Amico Ryans. Who am I confusing him with? The one from the Patriots.
Patricia?
No, but Patricia's name is out there for the Dolphins. Because the Dolphins cleaned house on the rest of the defensive staff that was under Flores.
Yeah.
Patricia is out there for the Dolphins, as is the Eric Washington, who's the Bills defensive line coach.
Good for him.
And so is Mayo.
Well, the Patriots are locking him up, so.
Yeah, he's interviewing with a bunch of teams now. We got them all. Nailed it.
You got anything else for us?
Other names out there. Marrow, Steve Wilkes, Marvin Lewis, Terrell Austin.
Normal names.
Patricia, Lovie Smith. So this guy named Chris Kosarak. I've never heard of him, but I don't know. Aaron Glenn from the Lions.
He's going back.
No. He's their defensive backs coach. He's not their coordinator right now.
I thought. Oh, okay.
No. Jim Leonard, who has bounced around. He's a former Bill. And like I said, Eric Washington has bounced around on a couple of names. Isaiah Hodgins is off the Giants' final injury report. That dude just can't stay hurt.
I was just reading like a bunch of stats about Philly, and I didn't realize that they had like the most rushing touchdowns in a season history since like the 60s, 70s. They just set all these crazy records. I think they're like 8 or 9. What's the point spread? Like 7, 8?
Yeah.
I don't think they cover, but I do think they win.
Philly, you think wins? You mean?
Yeah, I don't think they cover, but I do think they win.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay. I'll pick the Giants on that one. Just for my Dable.
Yeah, love.
Yeah, they could. I mean, they could beat Philly. I mean, they could just have it just go their way. I think that's kind of what will have to happen. But
Isaiah Hodgins,
defensive line,
4 touchdowns.
Philly, I just don't see. Yeah, like one of those crazy. Kind of what happened last week for them.
Could still happen. Bills Giants Super Bowl.
and then next year will be Bills Cowboys, and then Bills
Bills
Redskins.
Washington, yeah, and then we'll face the Cowboys back to back when Dan Quinn's their coach.
I told you. Well, maybe he'll be dead by then. Who knows?
Is that what we're hoping for?
Jerry Jones to be
dies within the next 4 years and makes and then Dan Quinn becomes head coach.
well, like his kid's gonna be any better running the team.
I'm not saying his kid will be any better, but I think I legitimately think that McCarthy blackmails Jerry Jones. I mean, you hear every single year that they're debating his future, and then Jerry Jones is the one who comes out and is like, "No, he's our head coach."
Yeah,
and it's like you can't have 3 years in a row of the same of sources saying the same thing.
yeah. No,
Like,
I hear you.
It's because of Jerry Jones, and when he
Not adding up.
dies, that's when the Cowboys will get a new head coach. They'll probably win 1 Super Bowl, and that'll be it.
Who?
The Cowboys. As McCarthy as their head coach, they'll win 1.
That's pretty hard to do.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He did it with Rodgers, so I think he'll do it with the Cowboys. But
Fair enough. Oh, speaking of Rodgers, next destination,
his couch.
He's not giving up $59 million.
Yeah, not if they. No, he'll play next year.
I don't know. That just felt so final. Like, that just felt weird. His last game, like all that stuff he said, and him being like, "I want to keep this one," and
I think it was final with the Packers.
Then I think
I have a spot in mind.
Don't
read my mind.
Don't say the Jets.
Not the Jets.
Okay.
He's not following Brett Favre's footsteps.
Oakland?
Yep.
I can see it.
Back to Devontae.
Mm-hmm. He comes to terrorize the AFC.
Well, he still thinks he can be an MVP.
Follows in Tom Brady's footsteps.
Speaking of Tom Brady, next destination?
I think it's his couch. I think Father Time has caught up with him. And I think Father Time may not have caught up with him physically enough. But I think up here, with everything that he's gone through personally, I think he sees
a sports psychologist in the summer, gets right, and has like one comeback season somewhere where he's actually good.
I mean, I don't know. I won't say he'll be retired until, the first snap of the first game is underway, but I could see it the way he was talking and how that also felt very sentimental, like the way I think he's at least done in Tampa. I don't know, but I could really see his final destination being his couch. He could just be like, "I'm
destination.
Done. Like, I'm done. I don't want to fun. I don't think it could just be like, I don't want like me. It's like, I don't think it's a physical thing. I don't think it's anything. I just think it's going to just be him. I don't want to do this anymore.
Fair enough.
I'm done.
Fair enough.
What do you think, CJ? Brady?
Oh, I think he's done. I think, yeah. I just think, as weird as it would be,
I just can't think of a place for him to go.
You lose your wife and everything, for the last season, and then it's like what you never really it just sounds so terrible.
Your extremely, extremely attractive wife.
Right. That you chose football over.
Idiot. Idiot.
But no, my girlfriend was just saying about when we watched that game, it's like, this is how you'll be remembered. It's like, this is how you should have just ended it. Like, you know what I mean? You'll be remembered for.
I don't know that that's true. I think he'll be remembered for 7 Super Bowls and.
Yeah. Or I definitely will think about you stayed a little too long. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
Because the good ones leave early. You know what I mean? The ones that I don't know.
That's true.
Rice is Rice, but his Raiders years was definitely known for him not being that good.
Right.
And Brady could have just walked off after that one season with Tampa,
Yeah.
and that would have been like storybook, you know.
Yeah.
So I think you could kind of make the case. You know, he had like what 2 extra seasons past that Super Bowl win, I think. So yeah, and they didn't really do anything with either season. They weren't good.
No. No, not at all.
Anything else?
Yep. Live Golf.
Okay.
They signed a TV deal.
Okay.
Can you guess who it was with?
Fox.
Wrong.
Who?
CJ, any guesses?
ESPN.
No. CW 23.
Nice.
Good for them. Nice deal.
Yep. Get them on TV at least, right? That's it.
Okay. Go Bills.
Go Bills. Lots of tours coming, not to Buffalo. Music tours.
Yeah. Well, all right. Am I just wrapping it up? Yeah. Okay. If you made it all the way to the end, we appreciate you for making it here.
Oh, did you want me to mention the tours?
No, I didn't know if you had. I thought you were gonna keep going because you like looked at me. So I don't.
No, I'm
know.
good.
Okay, if you made it all the way to the end, we appreciate you for watching. As always, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We're at Game Day 716 on Twitter. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. Go Bills, go Sabres.
Go Bills Mafia.
Stay sunny, Buffalo.
What time are we going on Sunday?